Awesome. Fantastic. We've got some people coming in here. Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Just as people kind of pile into the webinar this afternoon, we'll just give people a couple of minutes before we kick into things. Thanks so much for joining. We do have a pretty quick session today, so definitely going to finish ahead of time. So we'll have lots and lots of time for questions. So please don't hesitate to send those through. You can send us questions through the chat at the bottom of the screen, or there is a Q&A function as well. And I'll mention that again once we have some more people join our webinar this afternoon. So cool. Awesome. We're a couple of minutes past the hour now. So what I might do is I'll start sharing my screen. I'm sure we're going to have a whole bunch more people pile in coming after meetings and things like that. Can you confirm you can see my screen, Sophie?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. So, yeah, welcome everyone. Super excited to talk to you today about one of the newest MyCase integrations. We've got questions coming to the Q&A already, which is absolutely fantastic. So please keep those coming, team. We will touch on those questions throughout the webinar as they're relevant. My fantastic colleague Sophie here is just going to jump in and interrupt me if there's like a relevant question for what we're talking about. Otherwise, we will hold those questions to the end and go through them. While I'm going through the presentation, Sophie will be touching on some of those questions, just using the Q&A function as well. So keep your eyes in there if there are any questions that are popping up that you're really interested in having answered. So thank you so much again for joining us this afternoon. Presentation's pretty quick. Shouldn't take us more than, say, kind of 15, 20 minutes. So we'll definitely finish ahead of time. And yeah, super excited to talk about MyCase and VXT. So I'll probably just jump on in with that. So who am I? I'm Luke Campbell. I'm the CEO and co-founder of VXT, which is the new MyCase integration we're talking about today. I manage a lot of our integrations with my fantastic colleague here, Sophie. So we connected with the MyCase team over the course of the last year, and we've been working really hard on building this great partnership and the new integration. So yeah, what we're going to talk about today is who is VXT? So kind of as a company, what is our story? We'll touch on that a little bit. We'll go into a bit of a case study, talking about one of our great customers. We'll actually show you the integration, how that works, how VXT works with MyCase. Go into detail there, answer any questions on the product as well. I should say, guys, if it's not already clear, the session is being recorded today, and we will share it with you afterward as well. So, if you do have to pop in and out, or you just really want to have a recorded copy of it, it will be available, and you'll be able to share that with other people too. We'll touch on like the value proposition. So how is this actually going to help you and your firm? How is this going to help you practice? And then, we'll finish up by jumping back into those questions in the Q&A function. So definitely, please do keep sending those. So who is VXT? So VXT is the only phone system built specifically for lawyers. So if you kind of want to think about the services that VXT offers, you're probably familiar with products like RingCentral, even just like AT&T or Verizon or something like that. So there are lots of similarities between those services and VXT. We are a phone system, and so you can bring your phone numbers to VXT, bring them to our network, use VXT to make and receive calls. But then, because of our fantastic integration with MyCase, we're able to help you complete tasks that would otherwise be manual. And we do lots of other things with the business that basically cater our product to how attorneys work and cater the service itself. So how do we manage customer service? How do we manage implementation? How do we set people up and train people? All of that is really built around how attorneys do work, and from our years of experience kind of servicing attorneys. So we launched, we're a relatively recent company, which might be, you might not have heard of us before. So we launched back in 2021. Since then, we've been growing really, really fast. So since we launched in 2021, we've grown by about 20% per month, every single month on average, which has been a really exciting journey for our team. And we operate in Canada and all 50 US states. We can also provide services outside of the US. So if if you have some offices in other regions, that's something we can handle as well. Cool. This is our lovely team. We're as you can probably tell, just by looking at Sophie and I, we are on the younger side. Some of our team have qualifications in law, so might have done like law degrees, things like that. But we don't have a lot of experience working in firms, and so we are kind of industry outsiders in that sense. Now, the costs and benefits to that, of course, what that does mean is we're able to bring kind of an external perspective to how phone systems work, and kind of take this unique external perspective to how can we change this technology to make it suit the way attorneys and law firms work as much as possible. So yeah, this is my co-founder, Lucy. She's awesome. She is the brains behind the company. She's a computer scientist, and she and I founded the company while we were at college, and we interviewed hundreds of people in the legal community, practice managers, attorneys, partners, IT managers, all of these stakeholders in law firms, to really try and get the deepest understanding of how firms worked, and how their kind of systems worked and everything like that before we started building the software. And so that was really fun journey for us. So just touching on maybe a customer story here. Here's Alistair, this guy over here on the right-hand side. He is a commercial attorney, and he runs a firm and has run his firm for a long time with about 10 staff. Because of the specialization that Alistair is in, because of the type of work the attorneys at his firm do, they make a lot of phone calls. And with all of those phone calls, as you guys of course know, come paperwork, like jotting notes, like writing out notes of the legal advice that they provide, recording their time, all sorts of other tasks that are really important, business critical, but take a lot of time to complete. So all of this paperwork in aggregate each year was costing Alistair $60,000, which was a big deal. Some of that paperwork would get missed because attorneys are busy people. You have a phone call, you have to record some stuff from that phone call, but you're walking between meetings. So you say you're going to do it later, you're going to do it this evening. You get to the evening, you forget about it, or you forget some detail from the call, whatever. And so that can cause really big issues. It means, sometimes it means you're not recording your time. If you're billing per hour, that means lost revenue. If you're not billing per hour, but you still record your time because it's really important information to understand like where you're spending your time in the business, it means you're losing information regardless. So Alistair moved to VXT quite a few years ago now, shortly after we launched. And since then, he's been saving a lot of money on time that was being spent on phone call paperwork, because with our practice management system integration, Alistair has all of that paperwork automated when he makes phone calls through VXT. So he's able to save his time automatically. He can do lots of other things to help him record those calls in an efficient way. So it's a lot easier to actually look at something to understand how it works. So what I'd love to do now is I'm going to jump over to the VXT application, and I'm going to show you a bit of a demo. Can you see VXT, Sophie?
We sure can.
Awesome. Are there any questions that we should jump into before I dive into the demo, do you think?
I've been typing away, replying to the niche ones.
Oh, fantastic. Cool. So here I am in VXT. VXT, the phone system, is used through software applications on your computer or on your mobile phone. So you can download a mobile application and use it there as well. So if I'm an attorney, my law firm uses VXT for our phone system. I use MyCase, my practice management system, and I have those two systems integrated, and I want to make a call. I can do that in lots of different ways. Of course, I can just use my mobile phone and make a call in a really, normal way, I guess. Just open the VXT app, make a call on my phone. Or up the top of my screen, I have this dialing bar up here. I can start a call by clicking. Here I have all of my contacts from MyCase are synced into VXT. So I can see every single one of my MyCase contacts here. I can search for them through this list by name. So I might search for Luke. Here's Luke. This contact was pulled from MyCase. I can click on Luke and make that call, or I can also find a phone number in MyCase, click on that phone number. It will open VXT and start a call. So let's make a phone call. We'll call Luke today. There's the call. Fantastic. So now we're on a call in VXT. All of our controls, the call is up here in the top right-hand corner of our screen. All of the controls are on that call. There's little buttons. I can hover over those buttons to see what they do. VXT will tell me when I hover over them. I can take notes during this call. So I might take notes about the case that we are working on. Perhaps it's a purchase of a property. So, residential property purchase or something along those lines. I can very easily transfer the call to my colleagues. So I can perform a warm transfer where I speak to my colleagues before I transfer the client to them. I can give them context, ask if they're available, what have you. Or I could send them the call immediately with no warning, which is called a cold transfer. Do either of those really easily. You might have noticed we've got this little recording button, which is red right here, which means it's turned on. So on my account, we're automatically recording calls. I have automatic recording disclosure enabled in VXT, which means just like when you joined this Zoom call, you kind of saw a message, you probably heard a message that said this call will be recorded. VXT has the same kind of functionality in place, so you can automatically disclose that you are recording the call. Call recording is not at all required, so we can turn that off and switch it back on as we see fit. We find that attorneys, record more or fewer calls depending on their specialization and the type of matters, the type of cases that they work on. So we find that attorneys that spend a lot of time working on litigation, so maybe it's personal injury, or just another specialization where there is a lot of dispute, there's a lot of litigation. They tend to record a lot more calls. Call recordings can, of course, be really valuable when it comes to. I'll switch that back on. Call recordings can be really valuable when it comes to managing client disputes and having practically speaking, perfect notes of everything that was discussed. Sometimes you'll run into client disputes where a client might describe, hey, look, you gave me this advice when in fact you said something completely different. And, they might be really upset and blame you for certain things. And that can be really expensive if you have to take that kind of dispute formally and resolve it. When you have call recordings, when you're dealing with certain types of clients that might bring up disputes more often, or when you're having those important conversations, it can be really helpful for resolving those disputes. After the call, we'll see the MyCase integration. So let's finish the call there. First thing we'll notice, we'll see MyCase up the top. So we can see the integration there. I'll talk more about that in a second. We'll see those notes that we took manually during the call. We can update those notes. We can remove things from the notes. We can add things to the notes really quick and easy, just amend them, change the details, whatever we want to do. We can see that this call is going to be saved to MyCase against the existing contact that exists for the phone number that we were on the call with. What's great about that is, if someone calls you and they are a contact in MyCase, it'll show up with their contact information as well. So you always know who's calling. If this was, if we just had a phone call with someone who wasn't saved as a contact in MyCase, we could click this new contact button and enter their details. Maybe it's a client, maybe it's a lead. We could enter their details and save that person to MyCase as a new contact. We can do other things in MyCase after a call really quickly. We can save a time entry. So let's search for a case. We're going to go with, we'll look for one of these property cases. We'll enter our rate details. So let's say $300 an hour, that's just a rough thing. And then we could also save the call as a case note against this case if we wanted to. So same deal, search for whatever case that we think is appropriate. Now, when we hit save, there will be notes in MyCase associated with this contact. There will be a time entry in MyCase for this case. We can update the description of that time entry if we like. And there will be case notes against the case as well. Generally speaking, the notes associated with the contact and the case notes will have all of the details from the call, including these manual notes that we took during the call. So let's hit save and we'll jump into MyCase and take a look at those. So I might just have to re-log in here. While I'm logging in, any questions that you think we should jump into, Sophie?
One that might be good to cover is that VXT's integration with MyCase is included when you have a VXT subscription. So that's not an additional cost.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so the base subscription for VXT is kind of really standard kind of software approach. So it's per user, per month or per year. We also charge for phone numbers. So you might have multiple phone numbers for different offices, or maybe you have direct lines for the attorneys on your team. There's a small extra fee per phone number as well. So we're in MyCase. Where do we go? We can go to, of course, we can jump into that case, find that case. Here we've got the case that we saved those time entries and notes against. Now I am not an expert with MyCase, so we're going to roam around here and see if we can find all of the details here. Here's the time entry. Oh, view time entries. Awesome. So we can see that time entry that we saved against this matter. We can see that it was, a single point increment. See the rate that we selected, who saved that time entry, the total fee, the description, which matches the description we saw in VXT. and kind of other details here that are important. If we wanted to go and see the notes that we saved from that call, we'll go to the Communications tab, down to Call Logs, and then here's that note that we just saved. We can see who were we on the phone with, importantly here. We can see who saved the notes, those manual notes that we took during the call. We can see those at the top of this note here. So those manual notes are here. Again, we'll have the details repeated, who we were on the phone to. And because we recorded the call and we chose to also transcribe that recording, we can see here the transcription of that recording. Now, if we look through that recording, we can see that it is very accurate. I haven't even read it yet, but I'm very confident in that. You can see that there are pretty much no mistakes in here. In fact, it even gets my ums, it's punctuated, gets all of those funny, human weird things that happen when you're speaking. So our transcription accuracy today is around 98% accurate. Obviously you can tell I have an accent, so it works very well, across different accents, depending on where you're based, and how strong your accent is. Generally it's about 98% accuracy. For context, human hearing is 95%. So it is very good. Fantastic. So those are some of the details that get saved in MyCase from VXT. We can see that transcription over in VXT as well. If we wanted to listen to that recording, we could hit the play button. If we were struggling to find that call in VXT, of course it's here. And at the bottom of that note, there is a link that we can use to go and view that call, or anyone on our team can use to go and view that call in VXT and listen to that recording if we wanted to double check. So that is a very quick intro to how VXT works. There's a lot of other functionality in here. Of course, you can send and receive SMS messages using VXT. There's like do not disturb. If you want to do some focused work and you don't want to be interrupted by calls, you can activate do not disturb. Once we switch that on, VXT will tell us when it will turn back off. There is a team section which has instant messaging for instant messaging and calling internally. So if you wanted to chat with the other people on your team, VXT makes that really, really easy. There's a whole lot of administrative functionality around analytics, so understanding how many calls are coming into the business, who is answering all these calls, who are missing their calls. That can be really important. We can see that information graphically. So like, what does that look like over time? We can manage all of the different staff on our team. We can, manage all of the different phone numbers in our firm, and a whole lot more. So what you probably have noticed already is that VXT is designed in a way that makes it really, really easy to use. We try to make VXT as user-friendly as possible, just so that it's really simple and easy to manage. Some other kind of maybe more unique things about VXT are that we spend a lot of time, put a lot of effort into customer service and implementation. So, regardless of the size of your firm, you'll always have kind of someone who you can reach out to, a human being who you can reach out to and communicate with if you're running into issues or if you have any product questions or just anything like that. We make that really easy and care about that a lot as well. So, Sophie, any more questions on the product that you think we should jump into?
We have a lot of questions, so it might be worthwhile answering some of them on the webinar rather than just typing as well.
Totally. Maybe I'll stop sharing my screen for a minute. We can just, maybe I can, depending on.
Yeah, so it'd be good to cover how VXT replaces desktop phones. To cover that one, there's been a few questions about that.
Yeah, of course. So, basically VXT when you become a customer of VXT, we port all of your numbers to our network, so your calls come through us instead. And we do not support physical phones on the desk. So that means when you're using VXT, you have to take those calls through either your mobile phone, which is, it looks and acts just like any other kind of phone call on your phone, or on your desktop computer. For people that are really used to and really comfortable with physical desk phones, we tend to suggest the mobile application more, because it's just like a normal mobile phone call, except it has the benefit of the MyCase integration. Now, the reason we don't support physical desk phones is because we put so much emphasis on making the software really easy to use, and have thousands of users from all walks of life who, some are less comfortable with technology and using applications, and some who are like a lot more comfortable. And so we design kind of the software for all of those different types of people. So and that's something that's really, really important to us. Great question.
Cool. And what other one has come up a lot? Keeping your own phone number. I think you just touched on that one, but
Yes, yeah. So you can definitely keep all of your phone numbers when you come and join VXT. We manage that process with you in terms of bringing those phone numbers over.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, carry on. Sorry.
yeah, so there are a lot of questions about, can we integrate with different services like free PBX and Microsoft Teams. Um, so yes, someone asked about conference calls. Yep, you can definitely use VXT for conference calls. Um, we don't integrate with other phone systems or like alternative providers to VXT in that way. So if you currently use a system like free PBX or Microsoft Teams for your calling, when you move over to VXT, you would stop using those services for your phone system. Now, VXT has I would be surprised if there is an important piece of functionality that you use today with an alternative system that we aren't able to support. So I'll touch on that conference calling one, just because that's like a really important one. How do you do conference calls in VXT? I hope I'm sharing my screen.
You are?
Fantastic. So when you're on a phone call in VXT to do a conference call, you just hit more, add to call, and you can you'll see a list of your colleagues here, or you can just add someone. So I could find Sophie in here and add Sophie to this call if I wanted to. So very, very easy. Hit that button there, add to call. Now, something else that's really important to people is, how do you manage what happens when you receive incoming calls, right? So how do you manage that process? VXT allows you to manage the rules for incoming calls in a graphical way to make it really easy. So if I wanted to control what happened when my firm received phone calls, I create call flows in VXT, and kind of up the top of this kind of graph, this map, I can see I get an incoming call. What do I want to happen next? Well, I want something different to happen inside and outside of my business hours. So I can hit schedule, inside of hours, outside of hours. I can select my business hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Oh, looks good to me. Inside of hours, I can get it to ring people. I could have it ring all of my team at once. I could have it ring one person and then the next person and the next person. I can divert the call. I can send it into a call queue. Um, I can play a welcome message. I can do all sorts of things. This system is incredibly flexible. I often used to joke that you could if you really wanted to, you could have VXT order you a pizza every time you received an incoming call. That wasn't true when I made that joke. You can actually do that now. So just to give you a sense of the flexibility, you can pretty much do anything. only work on a cell phone. So I think James asked, does it work on a cell phone and not a landline phone? Sounds like that is really that desktop phone question again. So it does work, like in the sense of we would bring your phone number to VXT. That phone, the phone number would still work, still receive and make calls on that phone number, but we do not support using physical phones that have like physical buttons on your desk. VXT, just to reiterate that one. Someone asked, how do you sign up to VXT? Very great question. Let's touch on that one right away. So if you want to, you're interested in learning more about VXT, we can take you through a product demo. So you can take a look at the screen here. There is a QR code that you can scan. So if you grab your mobile phone, scan this QR code to book a demo with our sales team at a time that kind of suits you in the next few weeks, say. Otherwise, you can jump onto our website, vxt.co.nz, and there is a form that you can fill out there that will allow you to book a meeting with our sales team. Basically, we'll meet with you, go through a similar demo, except we're going to ask lots of questions about your firm, how you work, understand how your firm works, what's important to you, the systems you use today, how they work. We'll show you how VXT might solve those problems, and then we'll just kind of go from there. In terms of the pricing is really similar to alternatives. So probably, whatever you're paying now, it would be really similar moving to VXT. So you most of the time you wouldn't be looking at like a big increase in costs. We often bring on customers who are paying a lot less when they move to VXT. So coming to us, they get the integration functionality and a discount. Sometimes, we're a little bit more expensive. So it really depends on who your provider is and kind of what deal you worked out with them beforehand. But yeah, so we're in that same ballpark. And that's about $30 USD per user per month, roughly. And someone asked, in really along the same lines, is VXT included in the MyCase subscription? It is not. So it is a separate service and a separate cost. But when you subscribe to VXT, the integration is completely included. Someone asked, great question, A2P 10 DLC regulations so basically government regulations around sending and receiving text messages. That is really important. When you move to our services, if you want to use SMS, we do have to go through the 10 DLC registration process again, even if you have gone through that process with your existing provider, which can be a real pain and does mean, sometimes when you move, it does take a couple of weeks before you can send text messages. You'll always be able to receive them, so you can follow up with a phone call. John asked, he understands in MyCase integrations one way, can you utilize more of the VXT functionality from inside of MyCase? Yes, you can. There are certain things that you can do from inside MyCase. So if we jump to this contact profile, I think MyCase recently released an update for us, which was very nice, and we love them for it. This phone number here, you might have noticed recently MyCase changed how phone numbers appear in the application. So now that they're highlighted, you can click on them to link. So now if we click on this, it'll open VXT and it will start the phone call. Like it'll call this person, or it'll ask me if I want to send them a text message. So if any phone number I click on in MyCase that works, it works with VXT, you can click on that phone number from inside of MyCase. Now, again, that does open VXT, so the call doesn't pop up in here. But of course, all of those details will be saved in MyCase after the call, just like we showed earlier, regardless. in the future, we're definitely interested in, we upgrade integrations very often, especially integrations like the MyCase integration, where it's really clear that it's an awesome partnership for us, and we have a lot of mutual customers with MyCase already, and so we will regularly improve the integration, and requests that you make to us, we take really seriously, and we'll often improve the add functionality to the integration based on things you ask for. VXT does have an option for sending SMS, so you can send text messages in VXT. Yes, so yep, conference calling does work. So you just add that extra person. Another good question on that. Can you designate VXT to ring multiple phones? Yeah. So when an incoming call comes into the firm, you can have that call automatically ring, if you wanted to, everyone in the firm at once, so that you can answer that call as quickly as possible. Or you could just have it ring a few people in the firm together at the same time, similar reason, right? And so you can do that. How's the quality of the connection? We often receive compliments around like call quality, how basically, how calls sound when you're using VXT. One of the reasons for that is because we work closely with customers whenever they do run into call quality issues. So we have like deep expertise in the things that impact call quality, and work really closely with customers to manage their account, investigate call quality issues. You consider what might be affecting their call quality, and change things on our end if we can, or make recommendations for them to change certain things on their end if that's what's needed. Can VXT phone numbers show custom caller ID when someone doesn't have you in their contacts? So yes and no. There are services that kind of do that automatically. And what I mean by that is if you're using a Samsung phone, or if your clients use a Samsung, or an Android, 40% of the people in the US, they will automatically they'll display their best guess of who's calling, even if there's no contact details there. You can like fill forms out online to make it more likely that the name of your firm shows up there. We can help you with that. How do ported calls appear on a mobile phone? Yeah, so if you port your phone number to VXT, when you receive a call and you're using our apps, the call will ring on your computer and your mobile phone at the same time. And you can choose to take the call wherever you like. I've got my background blurred right now, so I can't show you my mobile phone. But basically, you can choose to take the phone through VXT on your mobile phone there. The phone call on your phone works the same way as like a WhatsApp call or a Facebook Messenger call. It's just through our app. And so when you want to make an outbound call on your mobile phone, open up our app and type in the phone number or click on the contact. Colin again asked about call quality. Yeah, touched on that one. We work really closely with customers to manage call quality. We can port from any service provider in the US. Someone asked, can we port from Google Voice? We can port from kind of any service provider there. John asked VXT, it looks like it's operated through a web browser. Is that how it works on mobile? No. So VXT has a web application, so you can log in on our website. We have a desktop app, so you can download our app on your computer and log in there. And that's generally how people use VXT on their computer. So they download the app, log in. For the demo, I was just logged in on our website just because it's quick and easy. And on the mobile phone, it is a mobile application as well that you download. So you don't have to use the web app. VXT, does VXT support 888 numbers? Yeah, generally VXT supports like any kind of area codes in the US. But depending on how, like, we always check that, of course, working with clients. So if you're kind of concerned that you're not sure if we might support your area code or specific number types, that's something that we can cover in the sales process. Fantastic. David asks, what are the next steps? Bring out your phone, scan that QR code, fill in your details, and we will see you very soon for a meeting. Thank you very much.
There's also a link in the chat if you would prefer to click on a link to go straight to the demo form.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sophie. Does the app work with Android Auto? Yeah, sort of. No, I haven't tested that recently. I would suspect it probably would suffer from the same issues, Brian, that you're talking about with Verizon. So, Android Auto is like quite custom, and so I don't think it's something we have developed specifically for, but would love to make it work better for that in the future. I haven't tested it, so I wouldn't be able to give you a confident answer on that. Tangi asked, does this mean if I'm calling from the app on my cell phone, my office number shows up on the other end? Yes, that is exactly right. So when you bring your numbers over to VXT, those numbers will show up regardless of where you're calling from, if you're using your mobile phone, your computer, whatever. Does this have voicemail? It does. We have fantastic voicemail. In VXT, if you receive a voicemail message, it shows up. It shows up here in the inbox with our calling history here. Your voicemail is transcribed, so you can read them. It'll show up on your mobile phone as well, which can be really handy there too. Cool. There is not, someone asked, hey, look, if we come over to VXT and we're not happy with the service and we want to port our phone numbers back to a different provider, is there a fee? No, we're really supportive. It doesn't happen a lot, but we're really helpful. If you look, VXT wasn't right for you, we make it very, very easy to leave the service, and we will help you with that process in any way we can. If VXT isn't the right service for you, then we want you to go and find the service that is the right one for you. So yeah, we're super helpful for that. But generally, we lose customers very rarely. So if that gives you any confidence there. How many incoming calls can the service handle? We can handle pretty much as many incoming calls as you want. We have customers that do tens of calls a day. We have customers that do thousands of calls a day, many thousands. So very flexible. Can we show the SMS feature? Totally. So I'll jump in here. Oh, I don't have it on this account. I can't show the SMS feature right now, but we can definitely show that to you in a demo. So if you want to see how SMS works in VXT, click that link in the chat or scan that QR code there. Sorry about that, team. This here on the screen, what we're showing right now is just the implementation process for VXT, what it actually looks like to go from interested, signing a proposal to using the service. We're very hands-on. We take a really careful approach to training. We set you up and train you ourselves across like multiple meetings. We help you port your numbers. We do specific training for administrators, different to users. We can support VXT. We can support fax in VXT, so we support that slightly differently, but that is something we can support if it's needed. Can you port your MyCase telephone number? Didn't know there were phone numbers in MyCase. I'm sure you can. We can port phone numbers generally from any provider. Can we get contacts from other places? So yes, you can import contacts from like other services into VXT. So, if you have contacts in your Google account or something like that, or on your phone, your mobile phone, you can save those into VXT as well. How many phone numbers, how many lines can we have in the firm? You can have as many as you like. You can have as many phone numbers as you like, as many users as you like. It does not affect the service. Do the text messages go to MyCase as a note? I do not believe we have SMS syncing today with MyCase. That is something we will definitely build, especially if more people request it. We can probably build that in the next few months. International calls are supported, so you can call pretty much anywhere in the world using VXT. Great. Yeah, you do not have to associate your personal mobile phone number with VXT at all. Cool. Awesome. So you can block numbers in VXT as well. That's one of the other questions. Guys, might wrap it up there. Please do. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really appreciate you taking the time to take a look at VXT and hanging out with us on this webinar. If you have more questions, please feel free. You can reach out to me here. This is my email down the bottom of the screen. So that is luke@vxt.co.nz. If you'd like to book a demo, please jump to our website, scan this QR code on screen here. Click that link in the chat that Sophie shared to book that demo, and we will see you soon and can answer any more of those questions that you have. But yeah, thank you so much for your time again, guys. Really appreciate it. But yeah, we will wrap up there. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, everyone.